Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we're going to show you how to properly secure your bike to your roof rack. Now this is not only important for you to get your bike to and from the trail safely, but it's also to protect your vehicle from any damage from your bike falling over or scratching your roof. It's also going to be important for others driving on the road to know that you're safely hauling your bike on your roof so that it doesn't come off and potentially cause any damage to other vehicles. Now, if you have one bike or maybe a kid's bike that you need to haul, you may be able to fit it in the rear of your vehicle, but if you want to haul a bike on your roof, it needs to be on a bike rack. The things that you're going to need are going to be a car, a roof rack, a bike rack, and your bike. The three types of roof-mounted bike racks are going to be fork mount, frame mount, and wheel mount. Now the first test that you need to do before even looking any further into a roof-mounted bike rack is you're going to want to take your bike and you're going to want to hold it at the level of your roof and see if you can hold it there between 5 and 10 seconds. That's going to be about how long it takes to get your bike secured onto your roof, and you're going to have to be able to lift your bike onto your roof-mounted bike rack anyway. The benefits of a fork-mounted bike rack is that you're not going to have to lift your bike nearly as high because you're not going to have the tire in the way to be able to lift it onto the bike rack to get it loaded. The other benefit of it is that it's going to be friendly to carbon frame bikes because it's not going to have any frame contact. Now the cons of it are that you are going to have to find a place to put your tire, which may not seem like a big deal, but if you get done with a ride and it's muddy, you may have to clean it off or have a trash bag in the back of your car to be able to put your front wheel so that you don't get the back of your car dirty. The other negative to a fork-mounted bike rack is that you may have to use adapters to match the forks on your specific bike. Now, a question we get a lot of times is what's a good bike rack to use for a through axle? Well, a lot of the times a through axle bike is hard to put on a fork-mounted bike rack because you have to hold your bike up in place on top of the bike rack and then have to thread your axle through the threads on the actual bike rack itself. Well, the Yakima High Speed has kind of solved that issue, and that's why we wanted to show it to you guys. Now, we do have a quick release axle here, but if you had a through axle, you just take this knob off, slide it through your axle, and then tighten it up, and essentially you've created a new grip point for the Yakima High Speed to be able to hold on to secure your bike on your roof. The advantages to a frame-mounted bike rack is that you're not going to have to remove your front wheel, so you're not going to have to find a place to put it inside your car. Your whole bike's going to be up here together. It's going to fit almost any style bike because of the way it holds the frame of your bike. The disadvantages of a frame-mounted bike rack are going to be that you are going to have to lift your bike a little bit higher on the front because you do still have the wheel attached. Another disadvantage is that it's not going to hold your bike as sturdy as a fork-mounted bike rack might because the connection is going to be just on this frame and two straps, one on the front wheel and one on the rear wheel. That fork mount really allows you to control that front fork to lock it in. The last disadvantage is going to be that it's not recommended for carbon frame bikes because of potential damage to the frame of the bike itself. Now, you might be asking, well, you have it on a carbon frame bike. We're just showing you a bike on this bike rack. We are not going to be traveling with this bike on here. Now, the benefits of a wheel-mounted bike rack is that you're going to be able to use it with your carbon frame bikes because it's not going to make any contact with the actual frame of your bike. And I believe that it's going to be the easiest to load the bike onto because it's the only one that actually gives you an assist. So when you load up your bike, you can lean your front wheel into this cradle on the front and get everything else secured with that wheel in place. Now, the disadvantages of a wheel-mounted bike rack is that depending on what kind of bike you're loading up on it, it may be the most unstable out of the three bike racks we've shown today. And the other thing is that depending on what style of fenders your bike has, if it has fenders, it may not work with that because of where these wheel trays will hit the actual wheel itself. One last helpful tip for you guys is when you get home from a bike ride, do not forget that your bike is on your roof. There's a couple of different ways that you can help to remind yourself, and that is something as simple as taking your garage door opener out of your car each time you go for a bike ride, or maybe setting it in a different spot on the other side of the vehicle so that you have to get out to go get it. Another thing you can do is set something in your way in your garage so that you have to get out to move it in order to pull into your garage. But with all that being said, hopefully this video was helpful for you to decide which bike rack is the right roof bike rack for you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.